How high's the water, mama? 2 feet high and rising. How high's the water, papa? She said it's 2 feet high and rising. Well, we can make it to the road in a homemade boat, 'cause that's the only thing we got left that'll float. It's already over all the wheat and oats, 2 feet high and rising.
Alright guys, into shelters. Again, this is going to vary from all of you guys, so I'm going to try and give you a little bit of wide scope from those that you don't want to carry a whole lot, from those of you that are not coming back. Some of it's you're going to need to carry something that's going to be able to get you out of the weather, and so you got to think 4 seasons. Now, if you're in a certain area where you don't really have seasons, I guess California would be a good example of that. You guys don't really have real seasons, not to the extent that a lot of the other country has. I mean, you think of Montana, they can go from drought heat wave in the summer to 5 feet of blowing snow in blizzard conditions, well below zero. So you got to understand where your shelter system is going to come from. One of the strongest systems you're going to have is going to be more of a mountaineering tent. Mountaineering tent is generally going to be a single wall tent, which is not going to, it fills that niche for that high altitude cold environment, but you're not going to be able to use that in the summer. You are just going to sweat yourself to death. It's like sleeping inside, of a garbage sack. So beyond the single wall, you've got your 4 seasons tent, and your 4 season tent is going to be something that still has really sturdy poles to take snow load, but it's generally going to be a double walled tent. Give you an example. This is on the cheaper end of the scale, but this is Solo ptarmigan. I told you guys I would, maybe I haven't mentioned it yet in the video. Once I post this video, I will put a video up of this green tent, so we won't go too much into that. But I believe in that video that you obviously haven't seen yet, I talk about this bright Save Me Orange over here. So that is generally a lot of the mountaineering 4 season tents you're going to find aren't that advantageous for a bug out scenario because of their color. I'll tell you right now, this was a secondary 4 season I bought. The reason it is 4 season is this would actually technically be a convertible 3 season. The poles aren't as strong on this ptarmigan because it's a little bit cheaper unit. So it's got regular 3 season poles in it. All the mesh doors and windows zip up to a solid panel, which helps keep the cold out. I have used this in pretty good, snowy conditions. But I had a Mountain Hardwear Trango 2. I'll tell you right now, I absolutely loved that tent. I fell in love with it. It was more of a gray and orange panely color. You can Google it. Look up Trango 2. They redid them this year. So the ones you'll find, you should be able to find the older ones on sale a little bit. The newer ones, the only issue I ever had with that one was because the vestibule door has a separate pole, and you have to put it on the inside of the vestibule, which is kind of a pain in the middle of snowstorms and stuff. So this year, the new edition, they changed a couple things, but not a whole lot, is they put that pole on the outside of the vestibule. Again, Google it. One issue I came up with is because when the weather and the environment around here in the Northwest induces a 4 season tent necessity, it is really almost too dangerous to be out there. And what I mean by that is our mountains are really steep, and all the roads and the valleys and the rivers that follow the bottom. So when you go out there, you have all these straight steeps. It makes it a little harder for day hikes, because I'll tell you right now, the first 2 or 3 miles are going to be almost straight up, and once you get to the top plateau, so the alpine wilderness, you're fine. It's gravy. You hike around on the top of the mountains all day long, but the first couple miles is going to be straight up scramble because of those steep environments. When you get the heavy snow loads, when you get it snowing, it warms up and it snows again, we have a huge avalanche scenario in a lot of the area up here. And for some, it becomes closures. Others, it just becomes a high risk area. So 4 season tent for me isn't going to be that advantageous. I'll rather, I'll dig a snow cave. I'll save the weight. Now, if I'm going to be on the eastern part of the state, where you may just get some really high wind blows, 60, 70 mile an hour storms that come through the mountaintops. Once you're up there and you're on the top, nothing's going to fall on top of you. So if you're planning on running the ridges, then a four season would make sense, because you're going to need something strong for snow loads, for high winds, that's going to be able to shed those winds and whatnot. So again, find out, I want you to find out the worst possible scenario of your bug out, and go with that. I'm going to see if we can pull up a rainbow here. Not sure if that shows up, but we're getting a nice little rainbow going over here.